Welcome to the channel. My name is James Salvatore, and today I have an interesting comparison for you all. As you can see behind me, I have the entire C-Class model lineup for 2020, and in today's video I'm going to be comparing them all for you to help you better make your purchase decision. However, before we get into it, be sure to help me out by smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm because it really helps to promote the videos, and then be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to be alerted when I post future videos. On the channel I do everything from new car reviews, new car comparisons as you can see, classics, exotics, so if that's your kind of thing, be sure to stick around. And with that, cue the cinematics. For those of you that are new to the Mercedes brand, I'm going to start off by explaining the power plant options that you have to choose from with the C-Class models. Now, these power plants, mind you, are available in every configuration. It doesn't matter what car it is, they're available across the board. So to start off, you have the base car, which are the 300 cars. Now, under the hood of these, you'll find a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder that produces around 255 horsepower and 274 foot-pounds of torque. Now, that may vary a little bit if you get it in the crossover, the GLC, because it's a little bit heavier. Sometimes they have 4 or 5 horsepower less, but that's what you should expect. Now, this isn't a bad motor. I personally have a C300 coupe, which is a great car. I mean, you know, it gives you the best balance of everything, and it also gets really great fuel economy. In the middle of the line option are the 43 cars, which have a bi-turbo V6 producing 385 horsepower and 384 foot-pounds of torque. Now, this is all mated to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, as well as AMG enhanced all-wheel drive, which is nice, seeing that that makes this a good daily for year-round driving conditions. And then you have the range-topping 63 AMG models, which features a handcrafted AMG-built 4-liter bi-turbo V8 producing 476 horsepower and 479 foot-pounds of torque. It's an absolute monster, and you find this motor in a lot of other Mercedes models. And it's honestly the most sought-after option of the three. However, there are some drawbacks to getting this motor in certain configurations, but we'll get to that later. Let's do a little sound comparison between the two of these, because most likely you're here because you really just want to know the differences between the 43 and the 63, and trust me, I understand that. Now, they're always going to save the more aggressive looks for the 63 over the 43, but they both look very good. But to tell the two apart, if you take a look here, let's first look at the front grille. If you notice, this is a single bladed grille, whereas on the 63s, most of them come with this most of them come with this Panamericana grille, which honestly, in my opinion, looks great on the car. It really complements it. On certain cars, like, you know, they do it on the GLC, it looks good, but I really feel like it really has its place here on the cars. Let's go over some of the major differences between all these cars, starting with the GLC. Now, the GLC, for those of you that don't know, is literally the crossover variant of the C-Class, hence GLC. Now, you can get this in both the regular and the coupe version, and this is the coupe version of the GLC. As you can see, it's a little bit more sleek, and if you come around to the rear here, this is the biggest difference between the normal GLC and this one. As you can see, the body lines are very different on this car, and it's just a more sleek design, and honestly it makes it look like the GLE, the bigger car. So in my opinion, this is the most beautiful GLC to get. I don't really like the standard one, although you lose a little bit of luggage space. But with both of these cars, you could expect to have around 16 to 18 cubic feet of cargo storage, which isn't bad either way, and you could put down the seats if you need more. Just to show you the difference between the two, if you take a look at the standard GLC, you can see that it's a more rounded off design, a little bit more traditional here, and you open the trunk and you notice that, you know, it's just a more squared off trunk, so you could fit a little bit more in it, and if you need to, obviously you could put down the rear seats. Now, when it comes to the way the interiors are, there really is no difference. Where you're going to see the difference lies in the rear seat. In the rear seat, you'll notice here that there's a lot more headroom for rear passengers, so if you take around tall people on the regular, probably better off with this. Let's go over the technology in the C63, because honestly it's the most well-equipped car here, and it's pretty much the same in all the cars. So in this car, you can see that you have a nice digital driver's information center where you have a variety of different things that you can have featured in the gauge cluster. And you could select between a few different designs. You have Super Sport, which gives you a nice centralized tack, and you could manipulate the stuff that's on the right side of the screen. You can have your maps, your G-forces, performance data, performance track apps displayed there. And then you have the Sport theme, which is nice, you know, gives a little bit of a racy vibe to it. And then last, you have Classic. I particularly like Classic just because I like the use of blues. I'm not really too much of a fan of the yellow, but very easy to work. It's very nicely laid out. And then on the right here, we have our infotainment system, and you can control it via the touchpad here, the touchpad controller, or the old school rotary wheel. And no, unfortunately, this is not an MBUX car. However, Apple CarPlay comes standard on this, which makes it a little bit better to use. So I guess it doesn't really matter, but what you lose is the touchscreen and the virtual assistant. This was the infotainment system that came out literally right before MBUX, but it's not that bad. It's not the end of the world. You could still control everything from the steering wheel, which is what I would do anyways. Once you sit in one of these cars and you control everything from here, you'll find that you never would want to even touch the screen anyways. Now, another cool thing in the AMG cars is the Track Pace app, where you could select, if you're at a track, you could select that track and you can actually have the track displayed in your navigation. Now, you can also keep track of your acceleration times. Now, it says warning, only use this on tracks, but let's be real, most of you are going to be keeping track of your quarter mile and other stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, take a look, it literally counts you down. And you can stop it. Pretty cool. Now, another nice option in this car is the ambient lights. You could see that you could change everything right from the center screen there, and you have ambient lights displayed all throughout the front and the back of the cabin, which is nice. And the technology is pretty much the same in every car. Well, that's all for today's video. I hope that seeing all these compared side by side helped with making your purchase decision. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to help me out by smashing the like button, and be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on my future videos. But before we go, I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends at Mercedes-Benz of Fairfield for making this comparison possible. I'm going to leave a link in my description down below so that you could check out their inventory. They got a lot of rare high-end AMG models, so if you're in the market, be sure to check them out. And with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.